Happy Saturday. So, I fell into a rabbit hole. Like, you know how Johnny Cash says he fell into a burning ring of fire? Well, I found and fell into a burning cesspool of hell and fire. That's kind of where I've been. Anywho, I wanted to come and talk to you guys for just a quick minute because some of y'all thought I was losing my mind yesterday. And I want to show you a little bit more of why I feel the way I do and connect some dots that some of you might be missing. In the big picture of this, these are all distractions. These are all characters that are inserting themselves. These are all complete clowns. And I'm talking about Dog, Nick, all of these creators that claim they're true crime. At this point in time, I've discounted pretty much all of them. There is nobody that I really that hasn't been involved in some of the insane pushing narratives, propaganda, spreading bullshit. They're all connected. You can connect all these characters together. They all push the same thing. They all have the same trickle down effect of misinformation, disinformation. Then they separate themselves from it, try to play this side of the fence versus that side of the fence. Well, I want to take you a step back here though, because I want to show you guys some of what's happening right under your eyes. And some of you don't even realize it.
Who's a bad girl now? Who's a bad girl now? Who's a bad girl now? I'm such a bad girl.
This one I promise will not be super long because I got shit to do and I shouldn't even be on here. But it's so funny to see some of the messages I get or some of that, oh, you call other people a conspiracy theorist. Look at you. No, I can connect dots. That's the difference. And it's really hard for people to like wrap all this around. I got told, get the focus back on Sebastian, leave politics out of it, ma'am. Sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up because unfortunately, you might need to clench your booty holes again here because we are going to go into some stuff that some of you are really grown ass people uncomfortable talking about what goes on in society in our country. Like that's wild to me. And it's unfortunate that they don't want it talked about. Meanwhile, these people are exploiting and using true crime and missing children's cases to inject themselves into for self-serving purposes. But okay, yep, we're the problems. Just kind of like what I said yesterday with the whole Tim Ballard. Now, let me say hello right quick and then we're going to get into that. But in the meantime, I want you to answer me a question because I need to know how much I need to set the stage here. How many of you are aware of the Sound of Fraud, aka the Sound of Freedom, Tim Ballard, Sean Reyes, that whole situation? You understand what's going on. You've read the court documents. Put a 1 in the chat if you're aware, put a 2 in the chat if you're completely unaware and you are a huge, oh my God, yay, Tim Ballard's a hero. Put a 2. Put a 3 if you kind of know a little bit, but you're a little unsure of what it is. 1, 2, or 3, please. And I will say hello. Hey, Music City Mom. Hey, Hope. Am, a one-way street, Claus, Jay, Kimberly, Catherine, Marcy, Sparrow, Zoya, Mimi of 8, Kathy R, Rondi, Tammy, Nursykins, Roro, yep, Thor. And for some of you that are like, oh, here we go. I'm not afraid of talking about anything on this internet. This is what happens in our world, in our society. And it's really funny to me that situations that impact everybody make people really uncomfortable, like really uncomfortable. Meanwhile, I don't truly care who you vote for. Just be educated about what you're voting for. So there's that. Hey, Vic. Hey, Mal. Deborah, you got kicked out of a chat last night. Ooh, look at you go. Muffin Mouse, Donna, more than aware. Donna, I love Donna's. 111, 2, okay. Aware because of me. I'll take that. Hey, Shay. 3, okay. 3, okay. 2. Number 2, but not calling anyone a hero. I like that, Toots. 3, 3. A lot of 1s, a lot of 3s, a few 2s. Okay. All right. Absolutely nothing you know about. Okay. Okay, so let me take you a step back and let me kind of explain. And hello, everybody coming in. Hey, Lurker. Hey, Beverly. We Gob Sheet, Organized Confusion, Jasmina, Emily, Marie, Jennifer, Toots, Misery Loves Company, Mr. Tomato Head, Shay. I'm sure I missed a bunch in here. 007 Silo, Donna. Donna, I know this is up your alley too. So Daddy's Baby Girl, Trish, Josh. Completely unfamiliar. Okay, Nicole B. I gotcha. Ava. Well, lucky for you guys, I've done quite a few videos on this situation. CK Warhola. This is kind of my forte. This is where I get real excited because I love this stuff. This is my wheelhouse because you get cult and extremist religion with political propaganda and use of unfortunate profiting off of people's pain, all mixed in one arena. So this is where I'm not excited about any of this. I should preface that. Like, this doesn't make me excited to see that this is happening, especially with a missing 15-year-old child, but I can connect dots for you guys. So let's get into it. Okay, so to give you a little background on Tim Ballard, The Sound of Freedom. Sound of Freedom was the big movie that was being pushed July of last year, July of 2023. So they came out. It was supposed to be this true story, is how it was sold to the media, of a one-time agent with Homeland Security being Tim Ballard. It was supposed to be the Ballard, or the Ballad of Tim Ballard. Tim Ballard did at one point in time work for Homeland Security. He claims that he did a bunch of specialized things. However, none of his records have ever been released. Nobody actually knows what he did. Tim Ballard at the time was high up in the LDS, which is the Mormon religion. Tim Ballard's one of his heroes is Tom Harrison. Tom Harrison was Spencer in the book Wings of Glory, or Visions of Glory, Wings of Glory, Visions of Glory. Visions of Glory, if you remember for my true crime buffs in here, was a part of the Daybell Vallow story. Okay, connect some dots here. So Mormon extremist offshoots with those extremist beliefs. So Tim Ballard comes in with his history of working for Homeland Security, says he was called to be this hero. He was going to start saving children. This is a very brief synopsis, so I'm missing a bunch of huge key detail points, but I've detailed a lot of this already. So years ago, back in 2013, they had started traveling to third world countries and doing B-roll footage where they said that they were going to rescue trafficking victims, sex trafficking, human trafficking, children that were stuck in trafficking. They were going outside of the country. And actually, what intentionally happened was they were creating a market of trafficking. Whether you want to see it that way or not, that's exactly what happened. They were going to places that did not have trafficking. Some of his biggest people that were along the ride with him, such as Sean Reyes, Tony Robbins, the Blaze Media, my buddy over there, can't stand that motherfucker. Anyways, all of those guys were directly coordinated or in contact with Tim. Those were his best friends because they had a lot of money to help him in this company out. So it's just such a convoluted story. So back in 2013, Tim Ballard had this idea. He started an organization, a nonprofit called Operation Underground Railroad. It's a 501c3 based out of Utah. It was to help trafficking victims. Well, subsequently, what happened is they were going into these countries. Meanwhile, a big note in this whole thing is Sean Reyes was promoted. He wasn't elected. There was other corruption with the previous attorney general, so he got slipped in there. Sean Reyes took Utah attorney general's seat in 2013. So, and they were really good buds, both high ranking in the Mormon church too. They had direct connections to the one-time president who is no longer here, President Russell M. Ballard. So there's a lot of going on. There was a lot of secret whiteboard meetings with a bunch of wealthy white men in back doors, all of these different things. In fact, hold on, I think I have one right here on my. There was a lot of talks and a lot of communication, and I've detailed a lot of this on my. Yep, here it is. So I've detailed, this is the actual whiteboard that they were doing. But here's a better like breakdown of what it was. So this is the LLCs and the companies that they were making off of this, and all of the downfall of how it was all going to go out to basically bolster Tim Ballard as this hero of sorts. So Operation Underground Railroad was formed. They started raising money. They started doing B-roll footage in these third world countries where they were going in, placing Facebook ads and having people come to islands, and they were setting up these sting operations. Well, they were going to govern or countries that have extremely corrupt governments as is. So a lot of people were paid off from what has been said. Now that is alleged. These are things that have came out by the people that were closest to him that worked for OUR, so on and so forth. It carried on for years. They initially intended on getting they wanted to get a reality TV show. That was the premise of getting B-roll footage. They wanted to do this reality TV show that followed them around, that documented this. Well, years down the road, it came out there's a lot of allegations of misconduct and sexual abuse and assault by Tim Ballard onto some of his team members, female team members. There's 6 of them that came out publicly already and talked. There's lawsuits in the court in Utah. All of that is posted in the members group. You can go in and watch it. We've also gone through it publicly and detailed it. That's still working its way through the court system. So I mentioned yesterday that this was very reminiscent to me of a Tim Ballard situation. And that is an extensive situation that is ongoing. In fact, I mentioned it briefly yesterday, but Kelly Souza, who was a character in this Sound of Freedom movie. Hold on, you guys. Kenzie's calling me. Hold on. Sorry, kid needed something. So she was a young girl in Colombia, Cartagena, Colombia. She followed the Facebook ad. Anyways, that was a whole setup. But unfortunately, because of the Colombian government and how this all worked out, and Tim's connections, in my opinion, played a big role, she was actually convicted of pimping. They promoted her in this movie as a sex trafficker. Never the truth, nothing to do with it. She was a part of a conversation that was all set up, but she was found guilty of pimping in Colombia. She will be spending years in prison. So the outcome of all of these created areas, and this wasn't just happening in Colombia, they were going to multiple countries. They were flying first class on donors' dimes, saying that they were going in with these paramilitary operations to rescue trafficking victims, to save everything. And a lot of the underlying stuff in those conversations and were the border. There was a lot of talk about, illegal immigration, and they make it out to be something it's not. Trafficking a lot of times is not what people want to believe. They think it's this like underworld, underbelly thing. Trafficking a lot of times happens in the home. It starts in the homes. It's the closest people to people, pastors, coaches, parents. Like that's more what trafficking truly looks like. Yes, it does exist in some of these other places, but there's also legal sex work in a lot of these countries that these men were flying to and setting up these sting operations, and things were just a mess. So the Sound of Freedom was made millions and millions and millions of dollars, and not one penny of that really went back into help trafficking whatsoever. It basically really set trafficking, like the goal of ending trafficking, back because it gave such a wrong perception. People like Bullhorn Betty, Annie Elise, Chronicles of Olivia, those people started pushing the Sound of Freedom and the trafficking thing. And if you notice, like their videos they were being falsely inflated. Like they were pushing that propaganda out and getting benefit from doing it. And I've detailed all that. I've shown all that in past videos. This is all out there. Nothing I'm saying is shocking. So yesterday I tried to kind of make a little bit of a connection to the fact that this truth serum that got mentioned the other day that blew up the internet and everybody started talking about was kind of laughable to me. First of all, it's illegal. And secondly, if they're going to start trying to kidnap people and giving them this stuff, like they're going to have huge trouble. It was, in my opinion, to get attention, to get people talking. They knew exactly what they were doing. And these are attorneys that were one-time attorneys through the Attorney General's office in Pennsylvania. Like, nothing shocks me. I've dealt with Sean Reyes. I mean, hello. Anywho, Sean Reyes gets out of office too in November. Yay, us! So I decided to take it a little bit further because if anybody has looked at these things with Nick the Hat, what is a consistent with Nick the Hat? I've heard some people are catching on to some of the names that he's mentioned. Anybody understand what Sylvester Stallone was accused of years ago? Now, not found guilty of, but accused of? Anybody have an idea? And we heard Nick mention Stallone a few times recently. Well, I'm going to show you a clip of other people mentioning Stallone too. No, SA. Yep. He was accused of SA back in the 90s. And that was all brought out. Yep. Sylvester Stallone. So it's not shocking to me to hear Nick say things like that. Do you know who also you can find Nick in photographs with side by side? Bill Cosby. So the question I ask you guys first and foremost is, why is somebody, an independent journalist, coming out in defense of all of these people being accused of sexual assault? That's a quick question, first and foremost. And you can find all this stuff. This is nothing I'm saying is not out there. In fact, there is a great deep dive investigative journalist that did a deep dive on the Stallone, Nick the Hat, all of his history there. I posted it on my community wall last night, but I've taken it a little bit further into this. So the parallels of people are like, well, dog's not in this for PR. Dog's not doing this. Dog's not doing that. Oh, really? Oh, really? Okay, let's go back here. Let's go to Fox News from August 24th, 2024. Then I'm going to take you on another little ride here. Okay, so this is from, again, Fox News.
That'll do it. That'll do it every time. I tell my convict guys I arrest, keep going back if you don't like girls. Oh. It's all good. Yeah. And they'll go, oh. I'm like, no, we know how you are. If you don't like girls, bro, it's nice. You're good to go. Yeah, you're right. You got brotherhood. It's a dating camaraderie. Yeah, you got everything you like. Free food. Just go dancing. Just go dancing. Whatever you're into, pal.
So simple, it doesn't look too nefarious or whatever. You can have your feelings on Fox, whatever you want.
Well, that was the strangest hitchhiker I've ever picked up. I kid. Joining me now, an American badass and the author of the new book, 9 Lives and Counting. I am talking about Dwayne Chapman, a.k.a. Dog the Bounty Hunter.
I mean, of course, he's promoting the book. That's what they do. That's part of the whole thing of getting on media to promote a book tour, or speaking tour when you have something like that going.
Listen to the crowd go wild. What up, dog?
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank
you. Good to see you, brother. Good.
Yeah, listen, go ahead.
Tell Kennedy I said hi too, please.
Did anybody know that Dog says he can't read? That he can't read at all, but meanwhile now the story has become that he never learned to read. But magically, he's been recently telling people that he read the Bible and all these other things when he was in prison. So which is it? Can you read or not, Dog? I'm just curious.
Hi, Dog. You better believe it.
Buddy.
Hi.
I've never seen you shout out one of your perps on TV before.
Oh, stop. You're so witty. I'm glad there's a little bit of a time lapse here.
You're going to keep up. You're going to be just fine. But yeah, the last time we were out driving around in my Bronco fighting crime together, first of all, I'm glad you didn't find my stash. That would have been awkward. But let's have this talk, okay? We wanted you on because the election has left us with 2 scenarios.
Oh, wait. Did somebody say I was full of shit because there was no political agenda here? Oh, yes, that's been happening. Leave the politics out of it, Becky. That's not what their intent is. Yeah, kiss my fucking ass to some of you who continue to miss the bigger picture. And everybody that's been texting me this morning, I'm sorry. I've been in such a rabbit hole. You guys know how I get.
Okay, if Trump wins, he's vowing to deport 10 million people. Now, if Kamala wins, they're going to deport themselves, so it's not really that big of a deal. But
talking about deportation. Okay, anybody that's aware or awake, yes, we have a problem with the border. Okay, It's not this invasion that they're trying to put out here. We've watched how JLR followed around documented farm workers that come across. It's what they do. That's their work. That's how we have stuff in the stores. Like, he followed around documented farm workers and tried to claim that they were illegals. It's fear mongering. It's what these guys do. What they're painting the border to be is just not it. No matter what side of the fence you're on, it doesn't matter. If you can't see what's happening, go back. These problems started before 2016. They've been an ongoing problem. There was bills that were introduced that were completely blocked to make it be the situation that still is. We have to have laws that pass so there can be something done at the border. So for anybody to continue to play these games with this illegal invasion and all of this shit is disgusting. We actually have to have change and people willing to, walk the aisle. There should be no aisle if it's for the better of everybody, but here we are.
The point is, how could we deport 10 million people?
Well, let me do a correction. It's
Yep.
Pamela.
Oh, no, I'm canceled. Thanks, dog. I thought you had me.
And so what he's going to deport is the felonious felons that have crossed.
Okay, it is not an invasion, first and foremost. Where did you come from? Where did your ancestors come from? There needs to be laws that are introduced. Calling it an invasion is completely ridiculous. It is not what that is made out to be. Yes, there is a problem in an apartment complex in Colorado. Yes, that is happening. Yes, this does happen. But again, until laws are passed to stop some of this and people stop using it as a back and forth with political propaganda on both sides of the fence and actually do something about it, we're going to continue to have this. It's an invasion. No, it's not. It's not an invasion. And when you follow around documented farm workers who come into this country legally, you got major issues. Open your eyes to the reality of shit. Let's stop.
Across the border illegal. And let me tell you something, brother, this dog can hunt. So I hope I'm on the list. I know that I'm a Kennedy fan and yeah, I will hunt them down. I've got a bunch of people ready. I call them, well, they're all, the FBI makes you retire at 52, 54 years old. So they're called dog in the essentials. So when the election
Dog in the essentials. Dog in the essentials.
is over, they're going back.
I love this.
When the election is over, they're going back.
It does sound like a Sylvester Stallone movie, too.
And there's Stallone mentioned again.
I love this.
Well,
go ahead.
Thank you.
I love you, dog. Give me this.
Love
Okay,
you, brother.
you're the best. Crime is up. Okay, but my question to you is, as a bounty hunter, we kind of talked about this in the Bronco. Without even looking at stats, can you feel a sense of when crime's going the wrong way in this country just by being out there? Are there telltale signs that the administration is kind of losing its grip on things?
Well, there's two things. That's absolutely the truth. I cannot believe any party would vote for no bail. Like Illinois, we just left there, Francie and I. The only thing they'll hold is a first-degree murder.
So, of course, he's going to have a problem with that because he's a bail bondsman. Like, come on now.
Help the feds catch a guy down there, Zimmerman. And it's amazing. No bail. Here's a ticket. Goodbye. So there's no recourse. There's no punishment. We don't want to whip them and stuff like that, but you got to pay for your crime.
Yeah.
Now they want to defund the police. They want to give free bail.
This is such... Oh, God, the rhetoric.
It is ridiculous. Who would vote for that?
Not me, especially with someone like Kamala, who is so liberal, she wants to defund the cop and the village people.
And you guys can have adult conversations, mods, let them go. I don't care, as long as they're respectful and not just pushing complete insanity. Let them go. Like, people are allowed to, they just announce themselves, and it's fucking hysterical to me.
She wants all the police, brother, all the police. So
yeah, I know. Yeah, and God bless the Olympics, right?
Give me the
Good at hide and seek.
Right.
Oops, I hit that button. Sorry. You see where we're headed here? So for any of you that are telling me that I've lost my mind, you can kiss my ass.
Ridiculous. Who would vote for that?
Not me, especially with someone like Kamala, who is so liberal, she wants to defund the cop and the village people. Like, she wants all the police, brother, all the police. So
yeah, I know. Yeah, and God bless the Olympics, right?
give me this, player. What job? Okay, I know you alluded to border security. Okay, if Trump wins and RFK Jr. is undoubtedly going to have a spot in an administration, where could we deploy you best? At the border, or is there Attorney General? What would we make you?
Well, I think borders
Well, what's funny is last time I checked, I don't know if he can even vote.
would sound like a good, because the last one was a failure.
Boom!
I will deport, export, and they're going back home.
A field trip for everybody.
So I ask you again, doesn't it seem realistic that he's trying to get his face out here? Of course it is. This is who he is. He's a character. He inserts himself in a lot of these high profile things to get recognition, to get his name. This is how he makes his money.
So maybe we bring Oprah in. You know, Oprah
Yes.
gives everybody a car. Dog gives them a ride home. Brother, I love you.
I'm not. Is that really Oprah? Is that really her?
I don't even know at this point. We all have our doubts, dog.
Okay, well, let's take it a step further here, because some of you still probably won't even understand what I'm saying, and it blows my mind that people can't see what's happening. Oh, really, cats and kittens? Well, I call complete bullshit on that, because nobody's working undercover here with the feds or anything. There's a missing child. All the crazy conspiracy theorists, all the crazy shit that's being elevated and amplified and stuff is all for attention. And the people are all connected to JLR, Nick, Dog, all of these things. So let's take this a step further. So I mentioned about the trafficking situation and how Tim Ballard used a realistic problem. Again, we have a problem at the border. Laws have to change. We all know that. We're aware, but people have gone completely out of touch with reality of what it is versus what it isn't. Then we have a trafficking issue. Same thing. There is a trafficking issue. A lot of it starts in the home, next door, in your churches, in your coaches. Like, there's a lot. Making the problem look like what the Sound of Freedom did is actually counterproductive to helping fight against trafficking. It actually set trafficking back so far because of the movie and the propaganda that was pushed in that, and the misinformation that was pushed. It was not based on a true story whatsoever. It was fabricated from jump. People still want to have this whole thing. Tim Ballard has now been excommunicated from the Mormon Church. The president of the Mormon Church that he was associated with passed away. Tim Ballard, I have videos on my page before of him claiming he wanted to be the next president of the Mormon Church and the next president of the United States. He had political aspirations too. He was going to be running for Senate, actually. There are a whole lot. So why is this similar? Well, listen to this. Do I think Dog the Bounty Hunter is going to run for office? No. He's hoping for some little created side piece of something that he'll be weaponized so he can get his face in the media and collect some money off of. That's basically it. Do I think Dog's going to actually do anything? No, this is all just pushing a narrative to get his face out there. I do find it really interesting, though, that Nick the Hat seems to align himself with some of the worst perpetrators ever and defend sexual assault. I mean, not shocking in the least at all. But I want to take you back to 2022. The title of this video is called Dog the Bounty Hunter and his wife, Francie, launch Human Trafficking Foundation. Where's my girls at? Am, are you in here?
Jeannie here. Today, I'm so glad to be joined by popular bounty hunter, TV star, Dwayne the Dog, the bounty hunter Chapman, and his lovely wife, Francie.
Am, I can't even blame Kyle for this shit. This was my own fault here.
They have an incredible endeavor that they're launching, and it's really just going to make a great difference in our country, in the world. So Dwayne and Francie, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, Kimberly, that's a very good. Asylum seeking is not the same. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. Yeah, Am, I can't blame Kyle for this one. This was all my fault. I fell right into this hole on my own.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Now listen, you can call me Dog. It's fine.
Oh, I know. I want to call you Dog, but I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't know
please.
if that's casual or not. Okay.
No, that's better. Thank you.
Oh, love it. Awesome. Okay, so talk to us about your new endeavor, the Dog Foundation, and why you wanted to kind of hunt in this way.
So, can I talk first?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So, Dog and I know that God brought us together in the most miraculous way for his purpose, to bring glory to him and to the kingdom.
Again, have your own religious beliefs. Your religious beliefs and who you believe in is between you and that person. But when it's used like this, the extremist evangelicals, all of this stuff is so overdone. It's so over the top. They go from one to the other, and then they claim it's God's will and God's word when they throw their racist rants, their homophobic rants. It's all under the disguise of this is God's will. It's quite ironic, but it happens. But you feel free to believe what you want. This isn't, somebody was asking in the comments. I went back and noticed what they were asking. Something about Christian beliefs or something. I can't remember exactly the question, but they were wondering why it's a problem. If you identify with this type of belief system, that's a you thing. This isn't your typical like Christian beliefs. And it's not, I'm not shaming your religion. That's between you and whoever. If you mask your shit behind things like this, that's a you thing. Again, I see what it is. It's a cult.
And so we really have been focused on what does that look like? What does that look like for God to use us in that way? And so
it's called faith manipulation. Yep, 100%. It's faith manipulation, emotional manipulation. It's all manipulative.
We really were praying about what that looked like. And my best friend has a ministry out of Arizona, and she also moved her ministry to Florida. Her name is Katie Souza, and she runs Expected End Ministries, and she does prison ministry, and she also is one of the owners of My Faith TV. And so we really have a heart for her, and I have this heart for women who have been abused. And
nothing wrong with that. Same with OUR. They had a lot of people saying that they were really invested because of their own stories. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, there's somebody in the comment section that OUR wanted to use the story of so they could, do a fundraising thing by using victim stories. That happens a lot. There is a need for education, support, resources for people of abuse, trafficking victims. OUR claimed that they were starting aftercare programs, which never happened, even though they were being sent millions of dollars by donors.
And are coming out of drugs.
They actually tried, OUR, another side note, tried to use Elizabeth Smart and Ed Smart. And at one time, the news in Utah announced that the OUR Foundation, which is Tim Ballard's foundation, was Tim Ballard's foundation, and the Smart Foundation were going to be merging. That never happened, but the news media never told anybody. So people thought that the Smart Foundation and OUR were one and the same. They pulled out before the merger was completed. And there's a whole lot to do with that too.
Drugs and sex trafficking and abusive situations. Katie and I both have been come out of the drug world, the street life. And so that really was
crazy bitch. That's my personal opinion.
Was huge on our hearts. And then we started saying, okay, Dog's been chasing bad guys for all of these years and has arrested 10,000 people and has made a huge difference in so many guys' lives. So we started going into a few prisons with Katie and ministering, and it was amazing, right? Yes. The things that happened there were so powerful and incredible.
And the girls, and both prisons, men and women, accepted it. And the women coming out of prison, have nowhere to go.
Well, so many women that come out of prison have been in abusive relationships.
It's really sad. It's really, truly sad because so many people that come out of prison isn't rehab. So if you went in there for some sort of drug issue, you don't get the proper support and therapy. So they do come out and they don't have anywhere. So it is prime opportunity, which is really unfortunate for organizations with, in my opinion, ill intent to swoop these people up, say that they're going to lift them up, they're going to help them, they're going to provide for them. Meanwhile, in my opinion, almost attempting to brainwash them. And it's further forms of abuse. But that's that.
And have been using drugs, and they want to get their lives together, but they don't really know how to do that. And
oh shit, you guys are chatting away here. Hold on. Bree says, some of us stood up to Molly. Some of us laid down and still do. Some of us stood up to Upchurch. Some of us laid down. Some of us stand up. Some of us lay down. It's never going to stop. And the gaslighting is painful. Bree, thank you so much for your continued fight to continue to have the real conversations and bring people back to reality. I really appreciate it. Janice in accounting says, thank you for speaking up about this. Politics in every part of our lives. We have to have these conversations. It should no longer be topics we never talk about. Agreed, 100%. It's uncomfortable for people, and I get that. I don't know. Like, it's the top 3 things. You're not supposed to talk about religion, politics, and what's the third one you guys think? Sex? There's just like, those are topics that make people super uncomfortable, which I don't understand as a grown-ass adult. Like, that's why we have so many problems, is because people are afraid to talk about the reality of what is going on.
So part of our plan in the Dog Foundation is that we want to show these women how loved they are by the Lord, first of all. First and foremost, we want them to know
it is money.
Because that's what changed Katie and I's life, is an encounter with the Lord and knowing how loved we are by him. And then teaching them, that they can get healed from all the things that they've been through and the lives that they were in. And we put together a program. It's a 2-year program. And the house is called the houses. I'm going to prophesy that for.
Come on.
The houses are called the House of Bounty. And
so supposedly they have aftercare homes where these people are supposed to be going to that are called the House of Bounty. He has a whole the Dog Foundation. In fact, on the website, you can go look at all this yourself, and I will take this further. I just wanted to kind of show you guys where I'm going. So the Dog Foundation and the House of Bounty provides housing, counseling, life skills training, soul healing, intervention services to victims of trafficking. And then there's a big old donate button. Dog is defined as developing and overcoming generation and something else. I can't read my screenshot, but yeah, that's on his website. You can go see all that. I'm not putting anything out there that they haven't already.
we want,
and of course, it's a 501c3.
These women to get whole and healed and, know who they are in the Lord and know that they can have a life that is so much greater than where they were, and learn how to have a whole full life.
And that is absolutely needed. We need resources that help empower, encourage, retrain, help address generational trauma, addiction. We need that. But a lot of times it's re-victimization of victims because they are doing it for self-serving needs and creating further issues. And it's a cycle of abuse that continues because what do people coming out of prison? Usually they're the most broken, have nothing. A lot of times they've lost their families, all of it.
Going forward, because God's in the business of restoration and redemption. And so we want to help these women walk into that fully. And then Dog and his team will be chasing.
Oh, it extends outside of just religion ones. There's ones that mask in different forms too that do the same exact thing.
Still chasing the bad guys and still chasing these guys that are trying to groom these women into sex trafficking and into that life, and kidnapping them also. They're not just grooming them, they're kidnapping them. And so Dog and his team will still be chasing the bad guys.
Yeah.
Still be chasing the bad guys. Again, this was in 2022 with the intent of chasing the bad guys and switching it up from chasing cons to trafficking. Okay. Again, yes, there's problems. Yes, these things need to be addressed. But why do you think he would be inserting himself in a missing child's case? Attention. It's right before election season.
Yeah, I read that. That is amazing. I know, Dog, you're partnering with a group of retired law enforcement officers, and I hear the group is called the Essentials, which is so cool. Talk a little bit about that and just kind of coming together with or retired law enforcement and other people that have a passion to hunt the bad guys down. What's that motivation? And then have you, in your studies and in what your wife is talking about right now, just kind of what have you discovered that you're like, I really have to do something about this?
Well, the Essentials are law enforcement guys. Yeah. Your early 50s, it's a mandatory retirement from the federal government. And so sorry for all the youngsters out there, but the Bible says that you inherit wisdom and knowledge after 50. You start getting, oh, I get it. So these guys have 20 some years left in them to hunt, to go after guys. I've got guys 30 years experience, starting when they're 20 years old. And, we met a bunch of them when we did the Brian Laundry Hunt, and we hooked up with.
Oh, the Brian Laundry Hunt. There is that.
All these guys. And Francie and I were like, whoa, these guys are already trained. Their heart is in it. They want to catch the guy. They're extreme intelligent law enforcement. It's sorry to say, but the longer someone's been in law enforcement, the smarter they are. It doesn't come with any book or anything. You've got to have the knowledge. You've been through so many different things. And that's where the knowledge comes in with law enforcement. So
that's why anybody that's saying that these guys were intentionally brought in, Aries, everything okay? I don't know what's going on in the chat. I'm not sure what's going on. I just keep seeing everybody asking if Aries is okay. You can believe what you want, but there is self-serving motives behind all of this. I'm sorry. It is so easy to re-victimize women and men coming out of prison that are broken and swoop them up and elevate them for a short period of time. And it's actual re-victimization of victims. They're not offering proper supports. I'm going to go further into the actual house and their therapy programs and stuff like that. I'm going to dive deeper into that. But this is all the same type of thing. One thing I do find interesting is there has been talk about grooming in this case, but as in Seth's own words of she was 12 and I was 10 years older. The re-victimization of victims has been a consistent theme in this missing child story, and it's been Katie and Sebastian that have been re-victimized over and over again by characters that involve themselves in this. Katie has been re-victimized so many times, and people turn a blind eye to it and say it's okay. Over and over again. Sebastian, he's been re-victimized over and over again. So is it out of reality? Is it so far off that these people are in here to make a name for themselves once again because they have other motives? No, it's not. And that's exactly what's happening. You can believe the political side. You can feel however you want to, but it's right in front of your face. They have a self-serving motive that they need attention to be brought to them to do their further shit. That's all it is. Anybody out here praising Dog the Bounty Hunter and Nick the Hat, please go sit with them. If you're okay with what they're pushing off, chances are they're probably, if it's a creator, they're probably associated with JLR, which is associated with Nick, which is associated with all of the same extremist bullshit. So please go sit over there. I want nothing to. I don't want to sit at a table with you because I'm not okay with re-victimization of victims. Period.
Guys are trained. They're spiritual. Some are in like wheelchairs. Okay, they've been hit by a car or writing a ticket or something, and they're terrific on computers or whatever they can do. They can fire a taser too. So then we noticed that these girls, Francie's very good at it. So is Katie, and I've directed a few females. Mostly males we arrested, but I've directed a lot of females into the right path. What do I do? Where do I go? What kind of job can I get? Except, I don't maybe want to work in an old retirement home where everybody's passing away. Not
100% opportunists, you guys. That's all this is. They're opportunists. It's the same thing. It's become, and the big picture I'm trying to get at is it's become profitable. Again, profiting off of people's pain, profiting off of victims, human trafficking, sex trafficking. That's people's pain. That's their stories. And people like this with self-serving agendas are now using problems in society like that to act like they're coming in to solve and help the problem while meanwhile they're making it worse. And they go on these tours of self-promotion and people buy the bullshit. They end up getting donated millions of dollars and then nothing happens for victims. It's the truest form of exploitation and one of the lowest forms because you're using people that have a baseline of trauma and you're shitting all over them over and over again. It's truly disgusting.
That's not good, but there's other jobs now. You can get an education now. It's unbelievable on a computer and a degree. And Francie and then we'll teach them how to do it. But you got to have hands on. In other words, they got to be babysitted. Let's say coached. Instead of a hand out, we're giving a hand up. They got to have that. We all work. They didn't just say, okay, now you're straight. See ya. We had to be threatened. We had to be coerced. We had to be loved to be able to get in that position. So we know how to get to the top of that mountain because we climbed it.
We've been there. Yes, that's so good.
They had to be threatened and coerced in order to get to the top of the mountain. Isn't that fucking weird?
Yes, it's
No.
true. Because I came out of several abusive situations. I was molested by my brother, and I was in a very abusive marriage. That a lot.
I'm
going to skip through some of this because you can go watch all the rest of it if you want to. Let's get to the human trafficking part. They talk about discipleship.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you about. Because there are people who, like, Francie, you came out of this, so you have experience. People that have been through this. There are people in our country.
I think there might be some misunderstandings going on in the chat. I'm not really sure what's popping off sideways, but y'all, please try to be respectful to each other. You can have differing opinions, but the re-victimization of victims is not okay. Period. Point blank. End of story. And that's what's continuing to happen. And now we're just watching it trickle into a missing child's case, which should have never happened. They will use anything to push these types of things. It's not shocking. Nobody should be shocked.
Country who are just like, oh, that doesn't really happen, or like these women, they're choosing that, like, human trafficking and all that is something that happens abroad. It doesn't happen here. Talk to a little bit of that, because obviously this is a passion project for you guys. You're doing it here in America. So talk to those who kind of don't even think that this is valid and it's just a bunch of people making bad decisions.
So the difference between him and Ballard, one thing off the jump that I will point out, is he claims he's going to be hunting in America versus Ballard went to countries outside of the United States with very corrupt governments. That is the difference between Dog and him. But Dog isn't welcome in a lot of other countries. In fact, he was, I think it was the UK, if I remember right. He was supposed to go on Big Brother UK, and his visa was declined when he tried to leave the country.
I think that what you're saying does happen, but the other side of that is,
I'll send you hold on. I don't know if it's registered. I haven't gone further with that yet, like as far as digging further. Hold on, let me send you this. The stuff is at the bottom of this website. It's called thedogfoundation.com. And at the bottom of it right here, it says 2022, the DOG Foundation, a 501c3 tax exempt organization. Donations are, I don't know if it's still registered, or it should be registered out of Florida.
Is that there are girls that are being picked up online. They are being picked up at their school.
Oh, I am. I've got a whole lot of shit to send you to go over with me. And this is where I make Amethyst's head. She probably wants to reach through the phone and smack me at times, because I send her all of my wild shit like this. Like, look at this shit.
They're sending in kids that are high school age and that are grooming girls and talking them into coming to do this. There are a lot of girls that are runaways and they don't have any place to go.
It's supposed to be Tim. So if you guys go to, I know a lot of you guys have your Googles open, so let me tell you where to go. So if you go to, I don't know the current status of it, dogfoundation.com. We will get lost in this rabbit hole. You guarantee we will. You guarantee. And thank you, Tim, for being here for 17 months. I really appreciate that. And then I just sent that. Didn't Tim Ballard do the same thing Nick the Hat did in a way where, yes, it was ketamine. He used ketamine. I talked about that yesterday, Tim. He used high doses of ketamine and a psychic. And he had somebody in there while he was doing the high doses of ketamine to write down all of his visions. So his ketamine drug infusions that were way out of the normal of what ketamine is used for. And then Janet Rousson, their psychic, were where they were getting their intel of where to go to find these trafficking victims. Yeah. And they were channeling the Prophet Moroni. Insane stuff here. Yeah.
And the places that they do go, or the foster care that they're in, they're getting abused in. And so they're running away from those places and they're getting sucked in to this life, and they're terrified to leave. They're terrified to stay, and they have no way out, and they're traumatized. And
that's unfortunate, but true. Human trafficking is a thing. Sex trafficking is a thing. But the way people mask it and use the victims and re-victimize the victims for self-serving opportunistic means is disgusting.
They're feeding them drugs as soon as they get a hold of them, and they get them addicted. And so that's a lot of why even if they wanted to take the chance to leave, they don't, because then they're addicted to the drugs and they can't get out. Yeah. And so they stay, because now that's how they're getting their drugs fed, is by staying. And so it's this vicious circle that they can't get out of. And they're brainwashed, unbelievably brainwashed, especially at the beginning. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to treat you so well. And they do treat them very well at the beginning. They buy.
Same thing they were talking about with their little aftercare, that they were going to treat them well. They were going to do all this. They were going to provide all this. Same thing Tim Ballard promised with their aftercare programs. They were going to do all this. They were going to provide all this. They were going to help victims.
Them a lot of things. They take them out to a lot of places. And as soon as they know that they have them, all of that stops.
And if you are a member, if you scroll down in our members group on the posts in the members, all of the court documents, I need to go pull and post some of the updated ones, but all the original suits filed against Tim Ballard in the Utah courts are posted in there for members. You can see them. Anybody else, I have gone over them publicly and read through the documents. They're on my channel.
Yeah, that's awful. Dog, have you went out on any hunts yet?
Well, yeah, we did. The Bryan Laundry we're still involved in, and we're still involved with Moab, Utah, the girls that were slaughtered there. We've got so many cases pending. Again, it's, you have to eat, buy food.
Yeah, Bree, unfortunately they are. Yeah, the gold scrolls. Yeah. Yeah.
Rent rooms, get a car, rent a, it's, you got to have, when I bounty hunted, you got a reward. Okay.
Okay, this is an important part now. Pay attention to what he's going to say.
You got the guy, you got the money. This isn't the same. You help the girl. There's no reward except cash. So we got to get some funding going. And then
we've got to get some funding going. Yes, this is in 2022, but where did his funding come from? He needs funding.
Years ago, you're very young, but years ago, all these alcoholic places were going.
He talks about the reward was there for a bounty. When you're catching those, there's no $50,000 reward. Well, that is a lot of money for somebody that needs funding to start all this stuff, right?
Alcoholics went somewhere and they could never get help. Betty Ford introduced the Betty Ford Clinic and blew everybody away. And then all these clinics started coming up like hers. We're the first ones to step into.
Mr. Tomato Head, you know how many times I've heard that? Oh my God, nonsense supports this. Couldn't be further from the truth. You just become numb to it because these people are absolutely outlandish. Like, this is the realistic conversations that need to be had around trafficking, because I should reach out to somebody in the actual, like, really works with trafficking victims. There's some really good organizations and advocates, and they do help and they do things victim centered. But all of these clowns that build up, this is like the new thing. If you look at a lot of evangelicals that are involved in these human trafficking, it's all the same workup. It's how they do it.
This world, that's going to get a true, and you could see through it, clinic.
And these clowns like this, Dog the Bounty Hunter and Tim Ballard, actually hurt trafficking victims and the overall mission.
There'll be no around this corner where there's no camera. There'll be none of that here at all. So we're going to get it done right. And it's got to happen right now.
Josh, what are you talking about? I can't throw stones.
Other countries, I know a lot of girls from other countries, and they can escape and get away. So it happens. It looks like it's a worldwide thing now. It
looks like a worldwide thing. Are you fucking joking?
A lot in other countries, but now it's the most prevalent thing in America.
Yeah. The most prevalent thing in America. The most prevalent thing in America.
Yeah, so it's traveled from somewhere. So it's here in America, big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. It does unfortunately happen. Then they go on to talk about the pop-up store of dogs, where is God, some more stuff like that. So basically the bigger picture that I'm trying to get across to everybody is there is definite self-serving missions here. In 2022, he didn't even have the funding to do what he wanted to. They were talking about rewards. You just heard that. You can feel however you want to, but this is the reality. They have self-serving missions, and they are using a missing child's case to align themselves with some of the worst to make names for themselves. They want the publicity. They're not doing anything to help find Sebastian. Let's be very clear. They're not bringing anything good to the table. Ooh, yay, dog got on TMZ and Sebastian's behind him with a blurry photo. I mean, the tip line in there is Dog the Bounty Hunter is not the TBI, the FBI. They don't care about the missing child. Let's be very truthful. They're just using Sebastian for an opportunistic gain of sorts to further their narrative. That's it. That's all. Nick the Hat aligns himself with some of the worst people that have been accused of horrific things and protects those people. I mean, it seems a little odd to me that you want to align yourself and be photographed with people accused of sexual assault, and you name drop those people like it's something cool. You also have, he talks about all these people with power and money that he's around. Anybody can name drop a bunch of people. Just because they have power and money doesn't mean they're good human beings. Attorneys can be corrupt. Attorney generals can be corrupt. I mean, fuck, Utah had one that was removed from office before Sean Reyes took office, and then Sean Reyes took office, and look at how that's gone. I mean, the only people that should be handling Sebastian's missing persons case is the FBI, the TBI of Sumner County, and that we are not entitled as a public to know anything about what's going on in this case. All of the crazy showmanship that they're doing and the bullshit narratives is just for a PR stunt. It is what it is. They have further means. Unfortunately, people profit highly off of the human trafficking discussion and trying to be this hero because people, they fear monger so much and people are afraid of their own shadows and don't even realize what trafficking is. Trafficking oftentimes starts in the home with the very trusted people around that person. It's not what these movies and these people try to sell you it is. It isn't. Sebastian needs to be brought home for his parents. All three of them love him and want him home. Seth has intentionally aligned himself with these people. I worry for his safety too, because he's in a lose-lose situation. No matter which way this turns, he's the fall guy that's going to be. And I hope he hasn't. I know he signed contracts. I'm sure he has. So we'll see how that falls out. If he signed contracts and they get exclusives to it, could there be a documentary in the works? Who knows? Nothing is beyond these people. But if he signed contracts, it might be a really interesting fallout because it might take TikTok Tony out of the realm and it also might trickle down to BHB. So if they silence Seth and shut that flow of content off to them, it could be an interesting little thing. Jana says this is like the pregnancy ranch that claims you can live there for so long. You know, yeah. Unfortunately, scary but true. Very scary but true. Yeah, isn't that really weird, B-Tim? I've got to go further with that because I want to check into all of that because he's got a website with that on there. We just heard him talk about it in this. I want to talk the House of Bounty. I tried looking up some of that already too. The House of Bounty provides mental health support through a variety of group therapy sessions and group studies. I want to look further into that because that's a little iffy. Like, and then even on the list of residential services here, it says that they have education, medical and dental care, life skills training, vocational training, therapy, art, music, horse, gardening and fitness, legal services, survivors, advocates, counseling, and soul healing ministry. I want to look further into this because I have a lot of questions for that. A lot. And thank you for the. It didn't come up on ProPublica. Why am I not surprised? Why am I not shocked? Yeah. Hey, T. Hey, everybody coming in. Yep. None of this should be shocking. Yeah. It is. It's just this is the bullshit. They're opportunists, just like the rest of these people. Anybody out here, praising these people, and I can't wait to see where this goes. This is going to be good. This is nothing to do with Sebastian. I hate to say that, but the reward was announced. Here comes all these clowns interjected themselves. They're not planted by the FBI. Anybody thinks that, they're fucking insane. If you think that the FBI needs Nick the Hat and Dog the Bounty Hunter, you don't know some of the assets that work for the government. Like, you have no idea of the intelligence agencies and some of those people that might have had some shady past at one point in time that actually work for the government that can do shit that these guys only wish they could. Like, seriously. But what is the one common factor between all of them? It's this extremist propaganda that they push, the self-serving motives, the use of actual pain, trauma of victims, the re-victimization of victims. There's common factors here. They defend sexual assault allegations of the up and up. Like, here we are. Absolutely, Seth is in a vulnerable spot, 100%. And these people have aligned themselves and are going to milk him for all it's worth. And that's really unfortunate and sad. It's just a sad situation. So, how's the name change? Is that Ares? Revictimize the empire. Ares, god of wars, revitalized empire of true crime. That's a lot to say, Ares. Hey, Duchess. I will, we need to get into some of that because a lot of people, it's really interesting to see how many people are really unaware, and that's a huge situation. The victim statements are terrifying, horrifying. Like, that was some of the hardest content I've done. I was reading through some of the court docs and some of their statements. What's Professor Nonsense learning us today? Nothing really. I was just connecting some of the dots of how these people connect and like their self-serving needs, and kind of showing a bigger picture of this is very similar in aspects to the Tim Ballard Sound of Freedom OUR stuff. Dog has supposedly, they're looking right now, and we're going to go deeper with it. They claim that they have a 501c3. They have this House of Bounty that they're trying to help trafficking victims. He was on Fox News and just last month pushing some shit, trying to get his name out there, trying to get attention, doing the same thing that Ballard does. That's all we've been talking about. You guys are free to go. Please go dig into it. Please go find everything that you want to. It's a rabbit hole, though. I'm just telling you right now. Yeah, the victim statements are terrible, are fucking horrifying. Horrifying. And the DNA did come back as Ballard's on the one victim, his personal assistant's skirt, too. Yes, they did. Yep. Incredible stories of the victims. I'm going to reach out to one of Kyle's buddies from TikTok he's a big TikTok and he's in the political Mormon sphere, and ask if he wants to do a collab by the way, save your stuff. He already knows I have a problematic channel. That's why people love me because I'm not afraid to talk about this shit. Oh, Janice. Yeah. Oof. It's just gotten so wild, though, to say all this stuff. Yeah, and dogs just... Are you guys talking about Sebastian Stan Sean? That drives me nuts that he did that. But think about it. Calling him the wrong name. Thank you, Janice, for the support, too. Think about it. Calling him the wrong name gets people talking. You guys, these are professional in the world of how do you get people talking? How do you get your name in people's mouths and get people paying attention to what you're doing? How do you get people to really start looking at you? You do controversial shit. No press is bad press. They're super. I have not dove into it publicly, Betty's pigtails, but that is something that Chasing was actually talking about the other day. The troubled teen industry is a huge for-profit thing. After living in Utah, extremist religious upbringing for myself, the troubled teen industry is something that needs to be blown wide open. The wilderness camps, the reprogramming, the pray the gay away, those camps need to be shut down. And unfortunately, I know way too much about that shit, and it's really hard for me, but it is scary. Anasazi is the one where Chad Frankie, Ruby Frankie's son was sent, is just down the road from me. Those are scary ass. It's a whole for profit thing too. It's scary as shit. Scary as shit. Badgered Witness, do you not know who I am? I show my face all the time, you guys. I don't know where you heard my voice before, but yeah, Nisi, no. And their target demographic is certain religious sects and stuff like that. And I'm meaning sect as in, oh, Badger, possibly. The sect as an SECT, sect, like religious sect. And again, have your religious beliefs. I'm not shitting on all those. Please understand that. Like, Christians that I know that claim they're Christians or have a relationship with God don't treat each other like this, are not opportunistics off other people's pain, are not these self-serving, fake bullshit things. There is good human beings that no matter what their belief systems are good human beings. Then there's just shitty human beings that will do anything and hide behind whatever they can, whether it's addiction, whether it's religion. A lot of people go from addiction to addiction, meaning from substances to switching it up to religion, and it's just the different substance. It's all a substance. There's a lot of that too. It's the truth, and I hate to say it, but it is. I know. When I say sect, people are like, sex? I'm like, no, it's sect. SECT. All right, y'all. Evil people do not discriminate. Absolutely. There's evil people in every single one. And I'm sorry, I'm a huge believer in who all these different groups of people believe in different things, and they've all lived very wonderful lives with their different beliefs. So who's to say one belief system isn't better than the other? If you're going to believe in one, why not be interested in learning about others' belief systems? That's what it is what it is. All right. I'm out. I am off to have a good rest of my day. I hope you guys all do the same thing. I freaking love Cults to Consciousness. Yep, absolutely adore her. Shalise is amazing. She is so good at what she does. Addictive personalities, yep. And a lot of those people trade, they will have done some horrible things like molest family members, do all those things, and then they say they find religion, and then they hide behind that, and they never come to terms with it, and they never, it's a terrible thing. And there's a lot of sexual abuse that happens in religions. I mean, the Catholic Church, for instance. Shalise is amazing. It's too cold there to have a great date, Nicole. I'll send you some of my heat. Hug a tree today. Well, you might get some splinters, so definitely don't try to use it as a stripper pole, Mrs. Mississippi, if you're going to hug a tree. I mean, our forests do help keep oxygen flowing, so hug a tree, just don't slide down it like a stripper pole because you might get slivers in the wrong places. Oh. All right, I will. Is it true? No, not all of them. No. Dogwood, no. There is, okay, so there's a huge difference between polygamy and FLDS, fundamentalist Latter-day Saints, and Mormons. Like LDS and FLDS are two separate things. There is some, they're not all by any means. You can't broad brush any of that. Like you can't paint it with the same brush. There is some of that happens. The order, the work, those are some offshoots that did have some of those lines that kind of crossed over. A lot of them in the FLDS, they just have so many kids. Like one dad will have 42 kids with 3 different wives. Like that's why a lot of the genetics are very strong. But it's not due to just that. But it does happen. Silver's on the scene. Speaking of which, we need to do some content on him. Okay, I'm doing the typical Midwest goodbye now. I look like a Brown from Sister Wives. Oh, is that supposed to be insulting? Are you trying to say I look, Dogwood? Are you trying to say I look inbred by your comment up above, and then try to say I look like a Brown? Do you think that's gonna hurt my fucking feelings? Do you really think you little weasels behind a freaking channel by the name of Dogwood are gonna hurt my feelings? Truly, by saying I look like a Brown? I mean, come on now, people. No, Kathy, I already do not. That is not my cup of tea. Those women drive me nuts. No. Nope. All right, y'all. I'm out before somebody gets told what a fucking ignorant dumbass. Like, if you're gonna troll me, be funny about it. Like, you guys and your stupid shit just is unimpressive. Like, you need to learn how to like fucking properly troll. Do it all out front. Be funny about it. Just like I could teach you guys how to make some memes of your feet, your knees, run people around. Like, you want some help doing that? And yes, I said it again. I trolled all out front, not in people's chats, none of that shit. I did it all out front. I can show you guys how to create some photos. We could do some elbows, like compare the elbows. Whose elbow is it? Find the elbow. Like, do something fucking funny. Some of you are real stunted and dull. Low IQ trolls, right? Ass fat memes. Oh, God. Okay. All right. Have a good day, guys. Salamander. Dang it, Mr. Tomato Head. I think I have. Hold on. Let me look it up really quick. Let me look it up before I go because I think I have. It sounds familiar. But I need to. Yes, 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 yes. I have. Yes, very good on Netflix. Yep. I should have just went and asked Kyle. He would tell you. You can guarantee that anything about fundamentalist Mormons, any of that stuff. There's another one. Hold on, let me go find Kyle. There's another one that I suggest more than that, Mr. Tomato Head. It's about the Mormon church in the 80s, and it's actually really good. It was on Hulu though. Hold on. I think it's called Under the Cover of Heaven. Hold on. Let me go find Kyle. I think it was Under the Cover of Heaven. Hold on. I think that's the one. And if it is, I'll Google it. Kyle said the same thing. He's like, that sounds right. But if that is Mr. Tomato Head, you might really like that one. Under the Banner of Heaven. Thank you, Kathy, for yes. Under the Banner of Heaven. That's a really good one too. Yeah, Kyle just texted me. He's sitting on the couch and I'm right outside. Under the Banner of Heaven. Yep. Very good. Very, very good show. It was made in 2022. Highly suggested. It's on Hulu and Disney Plus. Oh, wait. What did Duchess just say? Yeah, we do too. Will you play my song video I sent you? Okay. Let me see what I got here.
Clicking on that channel, what do you see? Tragedy pimps playing games, it ain't a mystery. With cases unsolved, they got no respect. Clowning on the laws just to catch the checks. Read the stories, all the drama in the chat, but they don't care just where the money's at. Tragedy pimps in 7 lives, knocking the missing on the real big highs. Chasing cloud like it's gold, street seas in the shadows of the green, drop to the knees. Spinning tales, twisting truth into a farce. Living off the pain, yeah, that's a real curse. Clickbait titles, take profit from the worst. Thinking it's a game, but it's more than just thirst. Fame and fortune built on sorrow and love.
Oh, why did it pause? Why did it pause? Hold on, it just kicked out and paused. Oh, there it goes. Glitching on me. Who will remember the name of the victim? Duchess, the rapper. That's great, Dutch. Love it. Y'all go make sure you check out Duchess's channel. Duchess, do you want to post your TikTok in here so people can go see it? You couldn't hear it. I'll load it. I'll load it later. Okay, I gotta go. I gotta get my ass out of here. I gotta go get dressed. Okay, bye. Have a good day, y'all. Stay safe out there. And stop taking in and thinking that these people, what they're telling you is reality. They're going to ride the fence of whatever they can for as long as they can. These creators that are flip-flopping, doing the most on doing all this shit, saying all this shit, hyping Dog and Nick up. Come on. Like, look at their problematic history throughout this case. Ignore the fucking shit out of them and move it along. All right. Bye, y'all.